Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Hi, everybody. Hi, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me? Hey, Reagan. Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay, great. Hey, everybody. We're just going to go ahead and get started. My name is Tevra Francis, and I am the publisher of Bergen In Color. We are connecting you to the diversity of Bergen County and beyond. Thank you guys for joining us. I tried to class it up a little this week because I have an important guest today, but thank you guys for rocking with me every single week. This is week 5 now of the Bergen In Color Live. The reason why this was started is because, as we are all practicing social distancing, we have to be connected to information that is helpful to our community here in Bergen County and North Jersey as a whole. And I just wanted to do something that will help and reach people where they are, which is at home on their phones. And hopefully this is useful to everybody while we continue to shelter in place, keep our social distancing. A lot of you are homeschooling, and we wanted to provide resources for you. A lot of us are essential workers, and we want to just give out our support and our love and our prayers to everybody who still has to keep this area and this county and this state going. We thank you for all of your service. We just want to make sure that the resources that are available are shared to our community, and we have to have that knowledge to know what's available out there. So while we go ahead and talk, I want you guys to feel free to ask questions. There's the comment box down at the bottom. Make sure that you're able to hear okay. If you can't hear me and if anything has changed, just let me know and I'll be able to see. My intern, Tia Moya Beauty. Tia Moya will be sharing notes as well throughout the discussion. But I want you guys to feel comfortable in sharing this information with your friends, sharing this information with your community so that we can all be informed. Just a couple of things. If you go to Bergen In Color after this call, you can see that there is an organization called Our Community Table, and they are having free meals for the community. They're based in Palisades Park. They're supported by local churches and businesses, and they say they're feeding anybody who has a need. If you know somebody who needs a meal or needs some supplies, you can reach out to them. It's called Our Community Table. Also, my besties at Never Alone Again Resource Center, they're still at it. They're still doing their thing to support the community. As you well know, couple things. Domestic violence situations are up now that everyone's at home. So we want to be mindful that there are people who really do need help. Beyond COVID, beyond coronavirus, there are people who are trapped at home and need our support. So Never Alone Again Resource Center is the organization that is helping them, headed by Teresa Johnston. She is actually in the trenches, in these streets, helping people who need this support. On top of that, she's helping people connect to food and supplies during this time. So the Center for Food Action and Full Extent Coaching and Consulting, they've all kind of teamed up and like a Voltron to help people get snack packs out. They did Easter baskets for Easter. I hope you guys had a good Easter. And we just want to support them. They are accepting donations. They're accepting food via drive-by, drop-off, curbside only. But, money goes a long way in this situation. So Never Alone Again Resource Center, help them out. Okay, so I'll have more organizations and information later. But we're going to go ahead and get straight to our first speaker for today. And while I'm adding Sheriff Anthony Curitan onto this call, I just want you to go to www.bergenincolor.com after this call, join our mailing list, join our, you got it to work.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. I was just finishing a statement. Join our mailing list so you can stay informed. If you're already in our mailing list, go ahead and share that information with those who may need it as well. Sheriff, how are you?
I'm blessed. How about yourself?
I'm blessed. I'm glad to be here today. So thank you so much for joining us today. We see all the hearts. Everybody's glad to see you. So we just really wanted to thank you for this time. I know you're very busy, but I wanted to talk to you about some of the things going on here in Bergen County. First, do you want to start with like a brief overview, or how do you want to start?
Let's see. Am I professional now?
Yeah, well, it's still us. We're all family, but
Oh,
we
so
might have some non-family. You know how it is. So,
still will give honor to God. Excuse me. For this day,
amen.
with everything being challenging in our lives, we need to look to our higher being, whoever that may be, some uplift to get us through this.
Yes.
Um, as been said, my name is Anthony Curran, and I want to thank all the voters who thought in their mind and their heart that to support me in this endeavor as being your sheriff. And being the sheriff, we've learned a lot. Well, I've learned a lot along the way in terms of services providing beyond certain communities. So I'm trying every community to make sure we all engage the same way and we all meet our needs. Um, I know our concern right now is talking about this COVID situation. COVID is real.
Yeah.
Had a meeting yesterday, and the discussion was having temporary morgues put in place. You would think in Bergen County that wouldn't be a thing we have to deal with, but
Wow.
we're dealing with that right now. As you know, we're over 10,000 of those who tested positive. We're over 500 who unfortunately have passed away.
Okay.
So we all have our responsibility within our respective communities, within our home, to ensure we don't become the victim and not make anyone else the victim.
Yeah. That's really sobering. So recently, as of the past few days, a lot of the talk has been about how hard COVID-19 has hit the African American and Latino communities. Do you have anything to add to those statements or those facts with regards to like this audience?
I guess being a local and driving through Bergen County and looking, especially community of colors, I understand some of the demands, some of the challenges we have, i.e., certain establishments we may go to for shopping. We have to bear in mind that we have to step back, be fully cognizant of our environment, and listen to that 6 feet difference between you and your neighbor. I mean, we come from a dense community. We also got to change some of our lifestyles to not allow us to be within that close proximity. From a nationwide standpoint, I'm so happy we're not dealing with it locally. If you want to use the faith base as an example, we can worship and praise within our homes. And like I said, whatever being you may serve, whatever you may serve, you do it in a safe and conscious environment. So
Exactly.
from when I see Bergen County, we know the dynamics, the demographics of it, but that little part we can do, I'm pretty sure it would slow down and hopefully flatten the curve.
Yes. And with regards to flattening the curve, it is starting to flatten, but that doesn't mean that we're out of the woods yet. Can you just kind of speak to that as well?
The weather breaking. I know everybody's getting cabin fever. I'm even one of them myself. Just maintaining that commitment. I mean, we just have to follow this out a little longer. I would say, avoiding the anxiety. Just read the news and understand, look at the numbers and see if the numbers are starting to change, and that'll be indicative of how much you can come out the cabin, news to say. But we have to be steadfast. We have to reassure ourselves that what we do right now, it's going to have a greater good, hopefully in a couple of weeks. So we still have to have some discipline about ourselves.
Yes. A lot of discipline. So getting to your department, the Bergen County Sheriff's Office, what are you guys doing, the men and women there, to protect yourselves, protect your staff? How have you changed your practices to protect those who protect us every day?
Well, first and foremost, we have to provide the officers, civilian personnel with the necessary PPEs to ensure their safety. Done that to the extent where we just recently purchased 600, are going to purchase an additional 300 test kits, test our personnel and give them the reassurance that, okay, you're working in somewhat of a safe environment. And again, dealing with the anxiety of one themselves being protected or feeling comfortable and safe, but that anxiety of going home, taking it to families. And that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
With the courts closing, we redeployed a lot of our personnel to be out in the community.
Okay.
with local enforcement. We have the executive orders to assist with that, as far as the park closures, and we're
Mm-hmm.
being professional, but we're sitting down having these conversations with the various communities, reminding them how we have to be very diligent and be responsive during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Within the jail,
Mm-hmm.
we've made some changes.
Okay.
Uh, Statewide, they ordered the release of a certain number of inmates.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently, the federal government have released some of our detainees.
Mm-hmm.
So our numbers are dropping in the jail,
Okay.
reducing the possibility of the spread of COVID within the jail. I'm proud to say, in the jail, I only have 3
Mm-hmm.
inmates
Oh,
who are currently
wow.
positive.
That's pretty low. Okay.
We have 19 in quarantine, but that's just for preventive.
Precaution. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And officer wise, we have, I think, roughly, I think 15 to 25 came back to work.
Okay.
So even with those numbers out of a 481 man department, sworn officers, I think we're doing quite well in that regards.
Okay. So I have a question here from Nichelle Santos Sanders. Does the county have good PPE resources?
We've received several donations.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, at the heightened point, no one was receiving the PPEs.
Mm-hmm.
Recent, we're starting getting more. The officers getting more of the N95, which have been certified.
Okay.
Uh, we're getting a large influx of those.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting the gowns. Thank you to the various community who's came forth and provided us a lot of our PPEs.
Okay.
Recently, we just got 2 donations in the past week from a Korean youth group.
Yeah, I saw
And
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we're with the cooperation of everybody and putting their hands into it. We've made the environment here a little more comfortable for the officers, and we can go out and do enforcement and feel protected.
Okay, so for donations, I know we have a lot of hairstylists, nail technicians, those who regularly use PPE who are not using it right now. Where would they be able to send that to
They can
help the
email
department?
sheriff at bcsd.us,
Mm-hmm. Say that again.
sheriff at
Mm-hmm.
bcsd as in dog.us.
Mm-hmm.
You can call 201 336 3500,
Mm-hmm.
extension 3517. That's my chief of staff, Derek Sands, and he can coordinate the deliveries or the receiving of donations.
Okay.
So,
Okay, great. And then also, for you and your family, how are you guys coping during this time? You have a very demanding job, and I know everybody's on edge just in general. How are you guys coping with all of these changes and the whole
we're
thing?
coping.
Yes.
And I say that before, when I come home, I'm welcomed by 3 young ladies. And 2 of my young ladies meet me at the door
Mm-hmm.
with light, requesting I get sprayed down or go in the garage and get undressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess that's an expression of love because that's my daily challenge.
Yeah.
But once I get in the house, I'm pretty much locked in,
Mm-hmm.
and they're locked in.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing schoolwork,
Mm-hmm.
and for the most part, we're doing all right in that regards.
Good, good, good. Well, I don't want to keep you. Do you have any final thoughts for Bergen County and our Bergen in Color Big fam?
Social distancing, social distancing, social distancing,
Mm-hmm.
and we can maybe have a long distance. Hey, how you doing? Just to comfort one another.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be isolated in the box and not, you know, not have any contact. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going to get us through and get us through that anxiety. Myself, no, I do virtual hugs, and I throw the fist up to give acknowledgement to say, hey, I recognize you. We're in this game together.
Okay, good. I have a couple of questions actually coming in. Let's see. Are Bergen County based corporations helping with donations?
Some are. A lot of donations are going to the hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
which of course has been essential.
Mm-hmm.
The local businesses who've been contributing to the hospital as well as to the agency.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say it, my officers themselves are taking their own initiative,
Mm-hmm.
go out and solicit for PPEs
Okay.
and PBAs. We have 2 PBA 49 and 134.
Uh-huh.
They've been standing side by side with the administration
Okay.
to make sure we all have what we need to do the job.
Okay.
Uh, Recently, last week, he wants to be the silent partner, but it was an NFL football player who called and wanted to make a donation,
Nice. Okay.
financial donation. So, I mean, folks are coming together, and it's a good thing.
Okay, that's great. Um, we have another question. Do we have racial demographics of the Bergen County impact? Is that available yet? I'll look and see, Councilwoman Rice, if that's available.
From my office standpoint, we haven't broken those numbers down.
Okay.
County Health is part of looking into it. Of course, we have 70 municipalities, and it's all based on the reporting of them, and they report to the state, and then that information is given back to the county. Other than I believe there's 35 municipalities that the county covers.
Okay.
Cover as their health officers.
Okay. And last question for you, Sheriff. Do you know of any of the statistics having to do with Bergen County hospitals?
No, other than that,
okay.
heard that the hospitals are full. And my statement is going to be they're all being challenged and taxed. So that way, at some point we need to sit back and really analyze our symptoms and use the proper things in place to call up and see if your symptoms warrant getting tested and or going to the hospital. Those are critical.
Okay. Okay, great. And then last question. Could you repeat how to donate PPE?
All right. Our website is BCSD, Bergen County Sheriff Department, at U. I'm sorry.
.us. I got you.
.us. And the phone number is 201 336 3500, extension 3517.
Okay.
And one additional thing, we do have an app for the phone, Android and iPhone.
Oh, snap. Okay.
If you Google Bergen County Sheriff, you can download it, and we're giving updates with COVID and various other things throughout the county.
Okay. All right. Sheriff Curtin, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. We really appreciate it. Everybody give him some likes and some claps, because this is a very stressful time and he took some time out for us. So we really appreciate you, and we'll be in touch. When everything is over, we'll do this in a proper interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Be safe. God bless. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep going. That was awesome. Okay, so my heart is just beating so fast, because there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of great things right now in Bergen County. And we just want to celebrate our people that are doing all these awesome things, and celebrate the fact that they are putting their lives on the line to protect us. So we just salute Sheriff Curtin, and we're going to go ahead and keep going. So I was saying about, we were talking about food banks. So some of the places that are now open are the Center for Food Action. I'm not sure if Helping Hands is open yet. They've had unfortunately a loss in their organization, so I'm not sure when they're going to be reopened. Congresswoman Rice, if you have that information, please share that with us. But the Center for Food Action is currently available for donations, and they've partnered with local organizations as well to distribute that. Those food and supply resources as well. Also, Never Alone Again Resource Center. There are several areas or food banks in Jersey City and in Hudson County. If you go to Bergen In Color after this call, there's a logo or a photo that lists all of the various food banks within the Hudson County community. If you're watching from Hudson County as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and if Keisha is available, we're going to go ahead and add her onto this call. Keisha Golding Cooper is let me get the title right while she's adding on. Let me get the title right. Hey.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
And you look great. So she is the Director of Guidance, Career Services, and Vocational Education for Teaneck Public Schools.
Yes.
Keisha, thank you so much for joining us, and especially for the last minute invitation.
No problem.
Everybody, let me put this PSA. Everybody's getting a last minute invitation from me because I do everything last minute.
It's
so
all
once
good.
you know Tevra Francis, Just put hashtag last minute behind her name.
It's all good.
Thank
And I'll say, thank you for thinking about me and inviting me, because I was super excited. I'll share just briefly. I shared it with my superintendent, Dr. Irving, and he said, go for it, just to continue to pass on the information, that we're doing from our end to support our families in Teaneck that are, experiencing this experience.
Yeah. Yeah, quite an experience.
Yeah.
So getting started, tell us about your role in particular and how you've had to adjust what you do to accommodate parents and children during this time.
Awesome. So my role, wow. So first I'll say this is my, I started in Teaneck in July. So what a great first year, interesting first year. Has really pushed my leadership ability and my capacity to be a leader. My role is really... It's broad, right? So the first part, director of guidance. So I do assist with supervising the school counselors, middle and high school, providing support to our outreach workers, which are also our counselors at the elementary school, dealing with some of those traditional school counseling or guidance and career and academic advisement and things of that nature. More broadly, I also sit on the executive team with Dr. Irving and the entire executive staff, our assistant superintendents and the other directors, to really come up with ways of how to support our students and families throughout. So in this time being, working from home, which for educators, it's like just a whole different space, means for us to really, and for myself to really think, I always think outside the box.
Yeah.
But to think further outside the box on how we can, as a school community, support our students and our families. So, just really looking at the guidance that we're getting from the Department of Education on how schools should proceed in providing that instructional piece so that they're not losing out on instruction and so that they can fulfill the 180-day requirement. Also just how are we providing, that counseling support via this new virtual space and things of that nature. So it's kind of like, I'm like Target. You go in for toilet paper, you come out with a whole basket.
Like $300 worth of stuff.
Right. And I'm like, what you need, that Staples button. That was easy.
So let me ask you. So you mentioned the mental health component. You have, and you announced that recently, before all of the shutdown, the Mental Health Services Program for elementary and middle school students and their families. So if you could explain that program and then explain how it now works under quarantine.
Absolutely. So the Mental Health Initiative is funded by our School Transformation Grant, which one of our staff, Dr. Lottie Watson, put together with support of the board and Dr. Irving to apply for this grant. And a component of the grant is mental health. So prior to, us being, and I always say physically distant because we're not socially distant, so we're physically distant, right? To us being quarantined, the resources were the parent or guardian or the student, whomever, would reach out to the school counselor at the elementary and middle school. And then I coordinate those efforts in getting that confidential referral and connecting the family, because it's not just for the students, but it's for the family, with one of our mental health clinicians that are, licensed and service our students from elementary and middle school. In this space, as those of us who are in mental health are familiar with, it's the teleservice or the telehealth. So we are starting back up. I've made an appointment earlier this week for one of our families, and it's still the same referral process, so that parent or guardian would reach out to the school counselor at the elementary and middle school, or even the principal, and then they would complete that referral form. It's electronic, which it was before, and then I get a notification. I contact the parent or guardian to just get another level of understanding of what their needs are, and then connect them with a clinician. The clinicians are doing the sessions virtually. We use our platform in the district has been Google Meets, and we found some success in that. So they connect Google Meets, and they're providing that support to our students at the elementary and middle school level.
So with Teaneck being, it has been like the epicenter as far as cases for Bergen County in particular. How have the school administrators and staff, how are you guys adjusting to all of this? Because there's a lot of loss right now, especially in Teaneck. How are you guys adjusting to that and then reflecting that to the students?
So it's definitely a work in progress, how we're adjusting, ensuring that we're, providing the academic rigor and support to our students, but personally, we're just trying to make sure that we're supporting each other. I was on a conference or video call this morning with the entire student support services staff in the district. I meet with them once a week, one, to really check in on how we're doing as individuals, and then how we're supporting our families through this. The building level administrators at each building, from our elementary schools to the middle school and the high school, reach out in their own way to their staff and to their school community, continuing through, all the principals actually this week, it was really cute, posted like a video welcoming everyone back because we were on spring break last week. So welcoming everyone back. Yeah. And, just trying to find alternate ways to connect and keep our families informed.
Okay. Okay, great. So with your own experience during this time, how are you guys dealing? I know you have children. I know you have your husband. How are you guys managing to maintain during this time?
Yeah. So, so just some backstory, I always have a story for everything. My husband's from Teaneck, so having this opportunity to move back into town. So I live in town. I have kids that are in the elementary school. I have a second and a fourth grader. And, it's interesting. It's been an experience trying to explain to them, what does this mean and what's happening, so part of it is really, meeting them where they are and not trying to give them too much information to really have that line, especially with the younger students, kids, my own children, to inform and not alarm. Okay. Right. For me personally, my kids, they really never watched the news. Okay. We just felt that they weren't ready for it. And now even more, my husband and I don't watch the news when they're around, and just trying to give them the age appropriate information. And we had talked yesterday a little bit, is that, I'm fortunate to be in a home where we have a backyard, so the kids can go outside. We were playing wiffle ball, trying to be creative, so I do think about our families who aren't in that situation to have that space for their students to explore. But it's been a challenge, I don't, somebody may pop in and pop back out.
So you mentioned our call yesterday. What are some of the exercises that you do? You have a backyard. Not everybody does. What exercises do you do with your children outside of, outdoor play? Like something that helps them keep grounded? How do you do that?
Still trying to figure it out, because what's interesting, I'm very honest, a little too honest. What's interesting is that, this is our 5th week. And, prior to this, we weren't really home as much because between work and activities, my son is in soccer, my daughter's in gymnastics, home was a place that we regrouped. We, did our family time, so now some of the things, my daughter likes to paint, so letting her do that. And to be honest, they're doing a little too much TV time. But it's kind of where we are right now, trying to balance. Yeah. Yeah. No judgment. Do what works for you. So with your role, when we get back to, I'm not even sure if are there any like indications as to when they're going to start thinking about opening schools, or is it too soon? We're not ready. I think it's too soon. We take direction from the Department of Education, who takes direction from the governor. Okay. So, once the governor, reevaluates the situation, he'll determine, what the guidance will be for the schools. Okay. We're aware that there are other states that have decided to not go back to school, but we're not there yet. Okay. So, like everyone else, we're taking it, week by week to see what the status is moving forward. Okay. We have a question from Chef Jolly. Is it Jolly? I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name. It's my cousin.
Oh, hey, cousin. Just put cousin. What has been the biggest challenge pivoting to homeschooling? Also, what do you think will remain after this crisis is resolved? Good question.
Good question. So the biggest challenge, and I know that other families are experiencing this, especially with our elementary age students, is really keeping them engaged. The younger they are, the more they're accustomed to their teacher really guiding their instruction. So, the challenge has been balancing, assisting my own children with their instruction while I'm working on assisting the other, almost 3 or 4,000 students in the district to provide support. So that really has been the biggest challenge of homeschooling. I've always given credit prior to now to those families who select to homeschool. Now we're in the situation where we have to, and it's making the best of it. But the challenge is just the balance, the work-life balance.
Okay.
And
So,
the second,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You said you were saying the second part?
Yeah, the second part was what's going to be left after this time.
After the crisis is resolved.
I can say I do believe that we will all be stronger as a community, because we're definitely finding other ways to support each other.
Yes.
I think we'll see the resilience that we all really have as, we're struggling. We have families that are really experiencing a lot of the hardship, and the resiliency of our community, of TNEC, in pulling together and supporting, and how the school district is supporting the students. I think that is what is going to be the long lasting thing. And whatever our new normal will be, because what, it's not about going back to what it was, but then establishing a new normal, and just doing the best we can to press through.
I totally agree. I think that normal that we knew it as we knew it is over, but I feel as though it's all is not going to be lost. It's just a matter of adjusting to what is going to be. So can you go ahead?
No, I was going to say, and it depends on the individual and what the family is experiencing, because there are some of our families that are experiencing that loss, and it's really finding ways to support them and, helping transition them back into the new norm.
So before we close, tell us about how we can find you, how we can support TNEC schools, and what we need to know to be in the loop.
Okay, so I wrote a few notes.
Good, thank you.
to make sure that I touched a couple places. So, in terms of the overall support for our families in TNEC public schools, I talked about the mental health initiative for our elementary and middle school students, but we always had and always will have a strong student support services system within our schools. So at each building, there is, at the elementary schools, we call them outreach workers as the counselors. Middle and high schools have school counselors. At each middle school, there are 2 school counselors, and at the high school, there are 6. In addition to that, there's also the forum at the high school, which provides that additional layer of mental health support to our students at the high school. They're still up and running. I supervise that department. Mr. Campestri and I actually have a call later on today. They get partial funding, or a majority of their funding, from DCF, Division of Child and Family Services. So they are under that umbrella, and they are really reaching out. We did Google Voice numbers so they can actually call some of their families. All of the counselors have the ability to do Google Meets. So we're making appointments. The counselors are also reaching out to those students who we knew prior to this time were experiencing some difficulties, whether it's academic, social, emotional, and we're reaching out to them. We also have a fabulous student assistance counselor at the high school, Miss Williams, who is continuing to provide those support services. And to reach me, my email is the letter K, Cooper, COOPER, at TNEC Public Schools. It's TNEC Schools, sorry. TNECschools.org. Please visit our website, TNEC Public Schools website. There is our communications director, Terry Corallo, has been revising the website. We have a COVID-19 tab that there's information there. What else? We also, every day from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TNEC High School via the Cranford Place parking lot, we're providing lunches, because every school in the state must provide at least one meal. Our business administrator, Melissa Simmons, was way ahead of the curve getting us all on board. We are providing lunch there. And also we have other food supply services. One of our assistant superintendents, Angela Davis, who is a TNEC notoriety, I always say, because she's been in the district for a while. She is over our part of what she does is with the McKinney-Vento or our homeless families. We are still supporting them. We will do drop off for those families if necessary.
Okay.
We are getting donations from all over, so there are supplies there.
Okay.
If any family still needs a Chromebook, because we are now going with virtual instruction for students grades 1 through 12. Yep, our little babies, including my own. As of this week, going virtual instruction in grades 1 through 12. Our 12th grade, high schoolers already had their Chromebooks. The middle schoolers, we were able to deploy their Chromebooks right before we went into this shelter in place. So, and then last week we started distributing Chromebooks to those families in our elementary school range who needed Chromebooks.
Okay.
Our technology coordinator, Mr. Saleh, and his tech team have we call it Tech Depot or Chrome Depot, also at Cranford Avenue School. They're helping with Chromebooks. If you are a family in Teaneck Public Schools that still needs a hotspot, because we all know, as we talked yesterday, that not every family, has access to technology.
No.
But more importantly, before the access to technology, has access to the internet.
Yes.
So we have hotspots available for our families, elementary, middle, and high school. Please stop by. Please reach out to either myself or any of the building administrators if you need anything. We're here.
So let's do this, because I have a database. This is why I keep telling you guys to join my mailing list.
Well, I want to know. Got your email.
Because I want to share all of these notes that you just gave us. Let me go ahead and blast that out. So if you could just send me the screenshot of your notes, and I'll get that up within the next day to the email list. Again, this is for Teaneck Public Schools. We've been talking to Keisha Golding Cooper.
Hi.
And Keisha, one last question just for my own.
Go ahead. Because I can talk. I'm a counselor. 20 years in the game. I'm a counselor at heart. So,
exactly.
This is my passion.
So for our communities, right?
Yes.
There's always this stigma about mental health. And
let's talk.
Right now, if anybody needed counseling, if anybody needed support groups, if anybody needed anything having to do with reaching out and being able to contact or even just talk to somebody, now would be the time. But there's also that stigma. So can you kind of just speak to that stigma within the African American community in particular, and how that can we could just drop it, because now we just need help. But go ahead.
Yes.
I'm gonna let you go.
So and I do want to preface this by saying I spent 15 years as a student assistance counselor, which deals with more of the mental health side of the students in various high schools. And, I taught health and PE before, and now this is my second year as an administrator. So I've seen it. And I will say this is not the time for pride to get in your way of getting the support and the services that you need. There are, however many people that are on this stream or that will watch this, I don't even know, I can make up a statistic, 1 in 3, 1 in 4, maybe 1 in 2, 50% of us either have a family member or ourselves are struggling and dealing with some things prior to.
Yes.
Right. So prior to this, we may have been struggling with mild depression or diagnosed or undiagnosed, forms of mental health. There's no shame. No. There is no shame whatsoever. And I look at it like this. We have symptoms that, are now coming out physically. Yeah. Those symptoms can also be coming out emotionally. Yeah. What are we doing? You know what you're going to do? You are going to either reach out to someone. You can email me. I will find you a resource. We need to wrap our arms around
each other,
ourselves and each other. Check in with someone who you have not checked in with before. If you were diabetic, if you needed to take that blood pressure pill, you would take it. You would go to the doctor, right? For whatever is ailing us medically. We should do the same for our mental and emotional health, because there is that balance, and I speak from experience. I have family members that have mental health needs, and it is a struggle. Being very open and honest in this, in this forum. And the best thing to do is to do something. Don't do nothing. It's not a pimple. If you ignore it, it'll go away.
Well, it's one of those things like how now we're so focused on pre-existing conditions for susceptibility to COVID.
Yep.
A lot of those same pre-existing conditions can be based on or can be triggered by some of our mental health issues as well. Sometimes high blood pressure, our eating habits, a lot of the things that are making us, causing us to be hit hardest by this disease can kind of be traced to some of our mental state, so we have to address the whole package and not just one symptom of what's going on.
And you are absolutely right. There are some, and I'm not a doctor, so please don't say Cooper said. Like I tell the students, I can tell my kids, please don't go home and say Cooper said.
Exactly.
Just speaking from both, professional experience and personal experience. Just being around and seeing things. There are a lot. There are mental health conditions that can mimic physical conditions, right? So what are they? I don't know. Who will know? Start with your mental health care provider. Start with your healthcare provider, right? Your primary care physician. Start with your primary care physician. Start there, and then talk to them. They're doing telehealth. I helped my mom log on to my son's Chromebook to do a checkup with her doctor, right? So reach out, and here's the other thing. Being in this virtual space, the stigma can actually be reduced because you don't have to go into a physical office.
Yeah.
So let's look at it that way. So all of our family and friends or people, if it's you or me, let's use this. Let's look at the other way, the opportunity in this to call someone and do a virtual, so you don't have to go anywhere.
There are apps available that allow you to text with a counselor. Like it can be as impersonal or personal as you want it to be, which is the luxury of technology right now.
Right. And, also just real briefly, going back to the student population on, follow me as well, or the school counseling page at Tina School Counseling on Instagram and Facebook. For students, there's 211 who is still receiving text messages. And I'll send you that information as well to support our students, the resources are there, it's kind of like anything else, how much are we willing to kind of step out?
Yeah. So on that note,
what else? This is fun.
I know this we can talk all day. I already see that.
Yes, we can. Yes,
but, Instagram only gives me an hour. So just a couple of things with the mental health services program. There's access to licensed mental health professionals. I can't read. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Now you guys are learning that I cannot read.
Access to licensed mental health professionals.
Thank you. You have bilingual therapists. Yep. And there's no insurance necessary. So that's a huge thing because people kind of shy away from a lot of these programs because they think they're going to be asked for insurance. And there is no insurance necessary to take advantage of these services. So spread the word. And Keisha, you're going to send me the information again so I can blast
sure will.
Out.
And kcooper@tnxschools.org. Send me an email. Give me a little time to get back to you. But if, if there's an emergency, don't call me, call 911.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I'm just going to, say that,
just put that out there.
Just put that out there. Don't send me an Instagram message, but I, in all honesty, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
I really do need to shout out if I can take 30 seconds before Instagram cuts you up. I really need to give a couple of people, some praise for really supporting me through this time. I have to give recognition to our entire TNEC Board of Education, from the president right on down. They have been supporting us, the public schools, my superintendent, Dr. Irving. He is such an out-of-box thinker, and he really supports everything and all my crazy ideas that I have, and has and supported me. Our assistant superintendent, Miss Johnson, who is over our curriculum instruction, Miss Davis, who is over our support services. I have 3 counterparts. I'm breaking it down, so I want everyone to know I have three other director counterparts. It's myself, it's Miss Patricia Dent. We're on the curriculum instruction side, and then it's Miss Erica Cirilli Levine. She handles our special education students. So we're here. Reach out to any of us, to our building principals. We're here. And although the buildings are fit like church, the buildings are closed, but school is still going on.
School is still happening.
It's still happening.
Yeah. So I want to thank you so much for your time today. Thank you, Tia. She's sharing your information at the bottom.
Welcome.
And we'll do this again. I already know we're going to do this again.
Let me know.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to go ahead and move to the next segment, but we'll be getting out. If you guys join the mailing list, I'll send out the information. And this is for TNEC schools. Tell Dr. Irving he's next. I'm getting on everybody's radar.
I will tell him.
Tell him to learn Instagram real quick because I'm coming.
Yeah. I'll show him from afar.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Be well. We are physically distanced, not socially distanced. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, Keisha.
Bye. Now, do I disconnect? Okay.
I do it. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Really quickly, that was Keisha Golding Cooper, who is awesome. We have some pretty awesome people in Bergen County. Now, don't count us out. We have people. So it's going to be my job to try to connect them and get them all on this show, I guess. I don't know. This show at some point. But thank you guys for watching. Just a couple of housekeeping things. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and join our mailing list at www.bergenincolor.com. We need you to complete your census. If you haven't done so already, complete your census. And then 2, we are doing a survey. So we want to get to know who we are in Bergen County. Like I said, we have a lot of amazing people, but for things that are run by data and numbers, it's hard to kind of pinpoint how many of our people support what we're doing. So we need to get your information as far as just a general survey about your lifestyle. It doesn't go anywhere. It's private. I just need to know because of the content that we want to put out. Also, again, our friends at Never Alone Again Resource Center and the Center for Food Action, they are distributing food and they need help. They need donations. So neveraloneagain.org. Please help them out. Those are my friends. And in the meantime, if you have people that you want us to interview, I can try to get them if they are available. So just send me an email at bergenincolor@gmail.com so that we can try to bring people on that are relevant to our experiences here. And hopefully this can go on beyond the COVID situation because there is a lot of information that needs to be shared within this community. So please help me grow. Please help us support each other, and go to www.bergenincolor.com to join the mailing list. Follow, subscribe. We're on YouTube. This video will be on YouTube. And I just thank you guys all for watching and hanging in there. Week 5, we did it. Okay, so now I need outfit ideas for week 6. Let's see if we can have some fun, a little bit of fun, just a little bit of fun during this series. Thank you all for joining me today. Thank you for Sheriff Curtin. Thank you for Keisha. And thank you all for watching. Have a good day. Bye, guys. Be blessed. Bye.